My name is Axel Gerdau, and I'm 36. I'm currently freelancing. I took a buyout from the Times in December, officially left the company at the end of March. Most of the things we did at the Times were short. I mean, like a couple of 15-minute short docs, a couple of 10-minute short docs, but a lot of shorter things that are, more bite-sized and online friendly.
As long as we have that much cash on the streets, it will remain tempting. We're kind of asking for it.
We grow old thinking about how safe our money is. It's a nightmare, and we live it every day.
About a year and a half before we actually did that story, I pitched that as a video idea, both to my senior producer and then also to the business desk, and those guys weren't really feeling it. At Times wasn't at a point where ideas really originated in video. Video always came in as a service to the print article, and so we weren't able to get it off the ground. But then the print desk a year and a half later decided that we want to do this story. But the things that we were immediately most interested in were guns, drugs, and money, right? And we figured that if we could get good access, we would have a good story in our hands. The story actually went very quickly. Matt gave me some of his contacts, and he had some dispensaries that he was talking to. He had a security operation that took about a week, maybe a Monday through Friday. It went pretty quickly because it turns out people were eager to share this story. This was an issue for a lot of people, certainly in the industry and even for the state government. The following week, I flew out there. I was a one-person band, so I did all the pre-producing and the reporting. I called some meetings with a couple of editors whose work I liked and who were going to work on the project to do a pre-production meeting about look, guys, this is the story we're going to tell. What do you want to see? What do you want to hear? Here are the characters I have. Who else is interesting? John Woo, who did a wonderful job editing it, and I were very keen on having a lot of sounds. And I think you hear that in the opening montage, loading the gun, firing up the bomb, counting the 20s. You can hear all those things.
I've heard other businesses in our industry put cash in shoe boxes in the closet.
And that was John. He's like, look, when you get those sounds, make sure you get those things so we can play with that. And then, he's on the side as a professional musician. So he just edited very musically the opening montage. I was in Denver for 4.5 days. Friday morning, I got to go with Dylan and the security guys to buy, I don't know how much pot they bought, $20K worth of pot, right? But I wasn't able to ask for that initially. We needed to have a relationship. They needed to like me. They needed to trust me in person before we got to that step of filming the pickup of that amount of weed. Yeah, and then, we came back to New York, and I think between John and I, me going through the interviews and John going through the footage and start building stuff, we were able to edit it in a week. And so it ended up being sort of a 3-week turnaround on the whole thing. They're not talking to Matt and I because he's Matt and I'm Axel. They're talking to us because our last names are the New York Times. We shot all of that on C100 cameras, Canon C100s. I think then and there we just had people laughed up and, using a shotgun mic on the camera for verite stuff. And then I think that was the winter we started editing on Adobe Premiere. It worked out really well. And, I think the pre-production aspect really helped getting a number of brains together and then coming up with different sequences we wanted to shoot, and sort of the idea of having it musical and really going heavy on the sounds, especially with the guns, the money, and then, having the benefit of having somebody by your side who already has these relationships who can introduce you. There's not a lot of money in it, right? I think the photos pay $350 a day, and then video pays not much more than that. It sort of depends on whether you have a relationship, how big your portfolio is. I feel like specialization is important. I feel like as far as video is concerned, I think we're going long and narrative, or we're going short and sort of bite-sized. You got to leverage your experience for the next thing. To get something out of what you're doing, learn as much as you can, and then figure out where you want to go next. There seems to be a lot of people that I've worked with over the years now who just stay at a place for a couple of years, learn what they can, and then they move to the next place, learn what they can, and sort of zigzag their way up and forward. And I think that's just sort of what we have to expect. At the end of the day, now it's P&P, it's people in portfolio, and that's where I would put my attention if I was you. Like prizes are also really important, and that's something that I've never paid any attention to, and kind of I'm regretting that a little bit now, right? So more helpful than a degree is winning something, anything. That's, I think, is where I would put some attention if I was you over the years.